We now turn our attention to social responsible investing. Joining us is Heather Jackson, Head of Social Responsible Investing from Cadiz Asset Management. Heather, thank you so much for your time today. It seems that there are quite a lot of misconceptions out there when it comes to social responsible investing. And one of the big things is, can this kind of investing deliver competitive returns? Your view?
It's very much located within mainstream fund management. And absolutely, the difference is that it takes financial returns one step further. So not negating and not compromising on those, but including on top of financial returns a high social impact.
Well, Heather, this is Stephen here. How does South Africa's track record look when it comes to social responsible investing, and how important is it for a country like South Africa, where of course we do have infrastructure problems, we have huge social disparities? Why is it important to us?
It's a great question. Essentially, South Africa is lagging global development around responsible and sustainable investing, and which is curious because South Africa clearly has very big social challenges. And so part of the opportunity as well as the challenge is to really open up private sector funding, open up investment houses, pension funds, and all savings pools within South Africa to start seriously engaging with the potential for socially responsible investing to deliver on their very necessary financial returns, but also to start making a difference in South Africa and to start delivering on a better environment for everybody to retire to.
Well, Heather, given our social problems in South Africa, should SRI be mandatory for pension funds?
You're touching on a very hot button there. The debate around prescribed assets is fairly well developed in South Africa, and certainly one can sympathize with where it's coming from. It's essentially being driven by elements within government and labour particularly, and it's trying to address the frustration that is felt as to why there is such a low delivery when it comes to responsible investing in South Africa, and why the organised industry has been so slow to respond to the need to find these kinds of investments that do make a difference to the quality of life more broadly for South Africans. And I think that it's misplaced. I don't think it's necessary, and in fact I think prescribed assets is potentially sabotage to a form of investing, socially responsible investing, which does stand on its own two legs. It does offer great returns. There's a huge marketplace out there that is relatively untapped, and what we need to do is to galvanize our collective savings industry to really start engaging with it properly and finding solutions and making the kinds of investments that can make a big difference. And they are out there to be found.
Heather, we've also heard news by government and just basically talk at this point in time that we need to start putting pension funds to work. Do you think that this is going to be a dangerous thing to do in South Africa? Do you think we should leave it as it is?
No, I don't think we should leave it as it is. And thank you for that. Just an opportunity to clarify. I think that we have very important transformation goals in South Africa, and we've been particularly successful at implementing certain targets around employment equity, for example, ownership, and it may be debatable as to how effective it's been, but it nevertheless has shown up in the numbers. And I think that where we prioritize certain transformation and certainly alleviating poverty, providing infrastructure, providing houses and medical services and ultimately education, and those kinds of services are central to all of our lives as South Africans, and it's incredibly important that we succeed in that. And so I think that that's really what we need to highlight, and that's what we need to get right in terms of focusing on the potential to find investments in those sectors. And we've certainly shown that it is possible. We can deliver on financial return while we have a high impact, and it's a matter of encouraging more participants to see the light and be the change that we all want.
Heather, Regulation 28 of the Pensions Fund Act, does that in any way hinder SRI in South Africa?
Absolutely. We are part of an effective industry body, the Association for Savings and Investments in South Africa, and we've lobbied quite extensively to reform Regulation 28, specifically around the notion of encouraging responsible investing across all types of investments, and then more specifically to encourage a competent asset class along the lines of the Financial Services Charter, which targets targeted investments and makes investments specifically into unlisted, high-impact infrastructure needs and types of investing in South Africa.
Well, Heather, what percentage of our retirement assets are invested in SRI funds? And also just give us an indication on what actually falls under SRI funds.
You are asking great questions. Percentage-wise, the number is somewhere around 1%, possibly just under 1%. So it's really tiny. Internationally, in your OECD countries, it tends to be between 10 and 15%. How do you define it? That's a vexed question, and there are obviously degrees. But broadly, what is globally accepted is a term called ESG investing, which is environmental, social, and corporate governance. And there is a proliferation of product around all of those subsets of sustainable or responsible investing.
Heather, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon for those insights. That's Heather Jackson, Head of Social Responsibility Investing at Cadiz Asset Management.